Little bit of an intro before we get to the beginning of this video. This is the second attempt to do this video. I had actually filmed this on the 29th of March 2024, and then owing to some technical difficulties, I've lost the video. So here we are on the 28th of April, a whole month later, recording it again. So yeah, thank you kindly for your patience, and now let's get in to the video. Hi everyone, Mr. Francy here. Thank you so much for being here and welcome back to the official Mr. Francy video. Mr. Francy channel, that is. Yeah, quite interesting that it's now called the Mr. Francy channel. It used to be called the Mr. Francy Reads channel, but given that I talk about many different things on this channel and plan to branch out a whole lot more in the future to talk about even more different things, I just felt it more appropriate to call it the Mr. Francy channel. And of course it has an exclamation mark after the word Francy because we're all about the sparkle and shine over here. So hello and welcome. Alright, this is a video that ironically I have in my goals list and that is to make sure that I do a goals check-in and SAS list check-in 4 times a year starting off in March. Now you would have heard in my intro at the beginning of this video that I had actually recorded this in March, but then March 29th to be exact, so right at the end of March, but unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, here we are filming it a month later. So you are going to get up-to-date information from me because I no longer even have the information that I recorded for that video. So not only do I not have the video, but I don't have things written down to where I was at with my goals and my SAS list on the 29th of March. So you're getting an update from the 28th of April 2024. My next goals check-in will still be on schedule. So I'm checking in every 3 months. So the next one will be in June and will not be moved over, for example, to July because we're now doing an April one. It's just, yeah. Sorry about the delay, but let's jump right on in. I had a number of different goals that I set for myself for 2024. Did you set some goals for yourself in 2024? If so, let me know in the comments section below. I've been asking the lovely people over on my Discord about the types of goals that they've set for themselves, and someone told me that a goal they have is just to read more. I think that's a wonderful goal to set. Absolutely. That was my goal when I first started my channel in 2020. I put a number on it. I put 12 books that I want to read by the end of 2020 to get myself back into reading. But the whole reason I started my booktube channel in 2020 was to read more. I think that is a fantastic goal. I have someone else saying that they want to get more Kindle Unlimited books so that they can read a whole lot more. Decide to not get so hung up on finishing series that they're in the middle of. They want to focus on buddy reads and book club reads like from Fable, and adding books from series that they're in the progress with when in the mood to read them. Yeah, fantastic. If you haven't heard of this before, a mood reader or mood reading is definitely a thing. So for those of you who don't know, a very quick description of mood reader or mood reading, as it were, is a mood reader is any type of reader who reads what they're in the mood to read in that moment. I am not a mood reader. For me personally, one wish I had, and I found out about mood reading either in late 2020 or early 2021, so a while ago, but one wish I had was to never be a mood reader. I'm not saying that being a mood reader is a bad thing. Not at all, boo. You do you, and you do you in the most sparkling, happy way that you can. But for me, because I set my TBRs a year in advance for each month, if I become a mood reader, then all that hard work goes out the window and it won't work for me being a mood reader. So I'm glad that I'm not. But if you are a mood reader and you have a goal to read being dictated by your mood, I think that is fantastic. I also have another comment here that I'll quickly share with you. Someone else saying, my goal is to not put so much pressure on myself about how much I'm reading and just take time to enjoy what I'm reading. Amen, sister. That is exactly the most perfect goal I've ever heard. It's basically saying, no goals. I'm not going to stress. I'm just going to enjoy what I'm doing. well done. And yeah, I look forward to hearing how all of your goals are going, either in the comments below or if you are over on the Discord. Link to our Discord is in the description. It is absolutely free to join, so come on over and say hi. And I look forward to hearing how all your goals are going as you continue to progress throughout 2024. All right, let's move to my goals. Now, I'm a goal-oriented person, and I want to just quickly jump back to 2020, hark back to my very first video that I did in January of 2020, my first booktube channel video, which was my goal setting. And as I said, I set a goal to read 12 books because ultimately I wanted to read more in 2020. Not only did this goal come to fruition, but I exceeded it by reading over 100 books. What I realized at that time is I am very goal oriented, and if I set a goal for myself, 9 times out of 10, it's not foolproof, but 9 times out of 10, I will achieve it. And so because of that, I set myself goals in December of the previous year for the following year, and I love to check in and see how I'm doing with them. So let's do that. That was a very long intro. Let's jump right on in. We're going to talk about the SAS list at the end of the video, but now we're talking goals strictly. So goal number 1 for myself was to do 12 TBRs and 12 monthly wraps. Yes, I have achieved this. So at the time of recording, I have recorded my May TBR. I have not recorded my April monthly wrap because I have not finished my last book in April, but otherwise I've done every other TBR and monthly wrap that came prior to that. So I've done January, February, March, April, and May's TBR, and January, February, and March's monthly wrap, and I plan to continue on with that. Goal number 2, so that's a tick. We are well on track with that one. Okay, goal number 2, 1 review video per month. This is a fail. In June, I've done this every year since 2020 and will continue to do so. In June, with the check-in there, I allow myself the opportunity to veto certain goals, and this year I may not only veto but add in goals that I didn't have to replace those ones, which I do have some on the side that I haven't mentioned yet. This one is definitely going to go because this was a fail. I did plan to get back to doing reviews of videos, whether it be spoiler-free, spoiler, or spoiler-free and spoiler dedicated reviews for books or series or whatever. It just didn't happen. So this one is a fail, and heads up, will be vetoed in June. Goal number 3, to read 100 books. Yeah, I'm definitely on track for this. I don't know the exact amount, but I do believe that I am getting close to 50. I'm literally just going into my Goodreads profile now. Shout out to Goodreads. Some people love Goodreads, some people don't, but let me tell you, I would be lost without Goodreads. Goodreads houses every single review I've ever done in written form for any book I've ever read, and given that we had that video recently where I had celebrated my 500th book, I'm glad I have Goodreads because I can't tell you a lot about those books that I read early on because I don't really remember. So thank goodness for Goodreads in my mind. Okay, so I have currently read to date on the 28th of April 2024, 45 books. By the end of April, I will have read 46, which is insane. I will be close to 50 before we're even at the halfway mark for the year. So definitely on track for that one, and very happy about that. The next goal that I have was to read 6 Ian Rob Wright books. So to this point, I have read 0, but that is not my fault. I wanted to have read the 3 books in the Ravaged World trilogy by Ian Rob Wright by this point. However, books 1 and 2 in that trilogy were taken off of Audible. Quick backstory in case you don't know. I reached out to Ian Rob Wright to find out what was going on with that. Ian Rob Wright is fantastic at getting back to his fans, his readers, and I really appreciate that. He let me know that the first 2 books in this series had expired on Audible. They were re-recording those books and then putting them back onto Audible, so they should be ready to go in the not-too-distant future. I can update that book 1 is ready to go. I'm going to wait for book 2 to be available, and then I'm going to put books 1, 2, and 3 on that month's TBR and get through them all at one time. So at this stage, I've read 0. However, in the month of May, I am reading this book, House Beneath the Bridge, which is a standalone by Ian Rob Wright, and that will be my first Ian Rob Wright for the year. And then when we add in eventually the 3 from the Ravaged World trilogy, that would be 4, which would take me over halfway through that particular goal. My next goal is to read 8 Amanda Flower books by the end of 2024, and I really need to check how many I've read. Just a moment. You know what? I've done really well with this, given we're not even halfway through the year. So I've read 4, and I'm currently reading the 5th one. Let's quickly put them up on the screen. In January, I read Farm to Trouble. In February, I read Put Out to Pasture. In March, I read In Farm's Way. I am waiting for that Cherry Pitts audiobook to come out. It still hasn't yet, but once it does, I will read the 4th book in the Farm to Table mystery series to close that out. I've also read Dead End Detective, the first book in the Piper and Porter mystery series, and I'm currently reading the 2nd book in that series, Frozen Detective. So once I get through the current book I'm reading, I will have read 5 of the 8 books that I had a goal to read for Amanda Flower. Goal number 6 was to unhaul 15 books in July and 15 in December. We have not reached July yet, let alone December, so this one is definitely on track at the moment, and I will definitely be able to unhaul 15 books by that stage. Goal number 7 was to have a special project video for each month. Yeah, so the goal with this was to every month do something fun to celebrate that month. For example, though I wasn't committing myself to this, but just so that you understand where I was coming from, in February I could have done a video to recommend romance books to celebrate Valentine's Day. I didn't necessarily need to do that. I could have taken the F from February and recommended some fantastic books or some fantasy books. Or I could recommend books that I felt ended too soon because February doesn't have 30 or 31 days in its month. So, you know, something to celebrate the month. This is a fail. This did not happen. I had plans. Those plans just unfortunately did not work out. It's okay. It is what it is. I'm not saying it won't happen this year, although I don't think it will at this stage, but it was a great goal. I'm glad that I set it, and I probably will set it up again in 2025. All right. Goal number 8 was to complete 15 of the 21 series on my SAS list. DNFs counting as completed for me. We are on track with this. I won't say the number yet because we're going to talk about my SAS list in just a moment once we get through all the goals, but we are on track for that. All right. Goal number 9 was to pick 1 book a month to physically read. This is a fail. I definitely planned on doing this. And because these days I do purchase physical books because I want those authors to get that royalty. But because I am lacking in time, I am exclusively listening to audiobooks while I do have the physical book on me, which is the much more expensive route, and I don't recommend it, but that's what I do. I have the physical book, but I listen to the audiobook, and then I will update the bookmark in the physical book as I go along, and also have it on my shelves as a physical representation. So the reason I set this goal was to go back to physically reading and see if I could. I wanted to start off with making the first book that I physically read a Campers and Criminals book, because they are so short, and it just never happened. I haven't read a physical book physically this year, so that's going to be a fail as well and will most likely be replaced. Goal number 10 was to read all the books on my TBR shelf. Yeah, so by TBR shelf, what I meant was my Rhythm of War shelf. This is a shelf that has books to be read that I've had for quite some time and haven't read yet. There was a caveat to this one, which was if I do not read these books by the end of 2024, they have to be unhauled. What this is going to motivate me to do is read Rhythm of War at some stage, which I don't know where Rhythm of War is. I can't see it at the moment, but either way, it's somewhere. Yeah, so hopefully I will read Rhythm of War at some stage. I have an Agatha Christie bind-up of 3 different books. I have The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and that's hilarious. I was wondering where the Rhythm of War is. I'm recording this on my phone, and I have stacked 3 books on top of each other to elevate the height of my phone to do this recording, and the bottom book is Rhythm of War, so no wonder it's not on the shelf that I thought it was, because I've got it on me right now. Yeah, and The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is also on that list, and I have a couple of others as well. Alright, so this one is so far a fail, but doesn't mean I'm getting rid of the goal because I have the entire year to do that. All right. Next up, goal number 11, to be more active on my Discord. I feel that I am more active than I was. However, I still don't feel that I am active enough. So it is what it is. We're going to give ourselves a pass on this one at the moment. And hopefully I'll be even more active as we do go along. Goal number 12 was to combine genres on my bookshelves in order to create more room. To give you an example, if I have less of, say, thriller and standard mysteries, put thriller and standard mysteries onto one shelf, which would create more room for me. What I used to do is I would shelve my books by genre. So I would have a horror shelf, a thriller shelf, a classic shelf, a fantasy shelf. You understand what I'm saying. So if I had less of certain books in certain genres, combining them into one shelf would make more room. And I have already started doing that because I did combine my sci-fi with my thrillers. And so that has already helped me. So we are progressing nicely with that. All right, next up is goal number 13, which is exactly what we're doing now. The quarterly check-ins on my goals and SAS list, wanting to check in March, June, September, and December. June still having the veto goals option, and December will still be the end of the year. Did I achieve everything? But March and September check-ins would be great too. So there you go. All right, so as for the goals portion of this check-in that we're doing, the first of the year, stick around for June, or keep an eye out in June when I do my mid-year check-in. I will veto some of these goals, and I have some replacements, so I may end up replacing the goals I veto. Okay, now let's talk about SAS list. Now, for those of you who don't know, a SAS list, the SAS list is something that was originated. Can't think of the word. Created. A SAS list is something that was created by Elizabeth from BookTube channel Lizzie Faye Loves Books. The first time I heard about this, I thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I need to do this. From the first time I did this, I realized just how much I loved it and have done a SAS list every single year since then. There are different ways to go about doing your SAS list and different questions and prompts that you can use. Everyone does their own thing. And even Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books says the same thing. We might do this prompt this year, but you do it your own way. The point is to have fun. So I appreciate that. And so the main point of a SAS list is to put series on a list that you have either started, or have not started, but would like to continue on with, begin, or complete by the end of the year. I love having a SAS list every single year, and I definitely have one this year. So let's quickly, first of all, talk about this series that I have completed. I have completed 4 series. But once I've finished my current book, Frozen Detective, that will be the 5th series that I have finished, which is a good start. I have 21 series on my... 21? Really? I have 21 series on my SAS list. There you go. That's interesting. 21 series. So, yeah, I'm doing well. I'll be roughly about a quarter of the way through once I finish Frozen Detective. Who's good at math here? Let's move on. All right, so the first series that I completed in 2024 was the All for the Game series by Nora Sakovic. I actually came into 2024 needing to read, I think, only 1 or 2 books to complete that series. And yeah, so finished that off. It was a good series all in all. It's a male sporting series, and yeah, I enjoyed it. So that was the first one that I finished. The second one I finished was the Love and Gelato trilogy, which is a contemporary YA contemporary series by Jenna Evans Welch. I started the series this year, and it was the second series that I completed, and yeah, really enjoyed it. I believe I gave every single one of those books 5 stars because they were all just fantastic. So I highly recommend, if you like your contemporaries, you will love the Love and Gelato trilogy. The third series that I completed was the Captive Prince trilogy by C.S. Picard. And I actually finished that series this month in April. So I had read book 1 coming into 2024. I read, I think 1 and 2 or 1. But anyway, either way, I've at least read book 1, and this month I read book 3, which closed that out. That is a male, I don't even know what to give you as a subgenre series, because book 1 is different to book 2, is different to book 3. Good news is we have the same cast in each series, but book 1 is incredibly, I want to say spicy, but I don't know if that's the right word to use in this case. But anyway, trigger warnings for book 1, let's put it that way. Book 2 is nothing like book 1, so it's not spicy at all. Well, and there are some spicy scenes, but it's very minimal. And book 3 is a combination of spicy and not, so technically the series is marketed as a male-male fantasy. And yeah, no magic, just letting you know. If you're anything like me and your love of fantasy series comes back to magic systems, do be mindful that this male fantasy series, the Captive Prince Trilogy, does not contain magic. It is fantasy because it is set in another world that's not our own. Alright, let's move on to the fourth book series I've... Oh no, okay, there is no fourth yet. Okay. So, okay, I DNF'd a series, and it does say in my goals, where is it? Complete 15 of the 21 series on my SAS list. DNF counts as completed for me. And I DNF'd the Coffee House Mystery Series by Cleo Coyle after book number 10. There are reasons. We're going to move on from that. But I replaced that series with another series because I am persistent. It's like if I DNF one, I feel like I owe my SAS list another series. And so I replaced it with the cruise ship series, Millie's cruise ship series, something like that, by Hope Callahan. I've read book 1. I absolutely loved it. I read it this month. I'm so happy. I can't wait to read book 2 next month. So yeah, I will not get through the Millie cruise ship series by the end of this year, but I felt like I owed my SAS list for DNFing. But yeah, this month I have read multiple books that are on my SAS list. Just to give you a quick example, we're not going to do a monthly wrap here, but I'm just going to quickly refer to certain ones. I have started my dystopian series, the Red Queen series, so that's a good one. I finished off, as I said, Captive Prince by reading the 3rd book there. I have started, as I've mentioned, and will finish the Piper and Porter duology. I am up to the last book in the vampire-related crime series, thanks to reading the 4th book this month, reading the 5th one next month. Started the cruise ship mystery series by Hope Callahan, as I've already said. Loved book 1. I am 16 books into the Campers and Criminals series by Tonya Capes. And yeah, that's kind of where things stand at the moment. Oh, and I am up to, just quickly going through some quick things for you all. We'll do this in a much better way. Okay, just going through. I am yet to continue on with True Colours by Annabeth Albert. I'm yet to continue on with Golden Boys by Phil Stamper. I haven't started that duology yet. I need to continue on with the Amish Matchmaker series by Amanda Flower, which I will be doing soon. I need to read books 4 and 5. I have not started that yet. The new releases that I'm going to read this year have not come out yet. I am talking the Amish Candy Shop, Secrets and Scrabbles, and Poppy McAllister books. They have not come out yet. The London Calling trilogy by Alexis Hall, I have not. I will reread book 1. I have not started that yet. The Farm to Table, I've read the first 3. I'm waiting for Cherry Pits to be available on audiobook. Ravaged World, we spoke about with the Ian Rob Wright goal, how not all the audiobooks were available. Once they all are, I'm going to read them all in the 1 month. The Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery Series, I am up to date, which is really sad. I miss not reading a Hayley Powell book this month. I love Leon Hollis and cannot wait for book number 17, Gingerbread Something or Other, to come out. Vampire-related crimes we spoke of, I've read 4 of the 5. I'm starting the Renegades trilogy this coming month in May, and this is a 3-book series, sci-fi series by Marissa Meyer. I have not read a sci-fi in over a year, so I'm very excited to read this trilogy. Completed Love and Gelato trilogy, as I've already said. The Immortal series I have not started yet. I have 4 more books to read in that one. The Housemates series by Jay Northcott. I have 4 more books to read on that one. Haven't started that yet. Red Queen. I need to actually update because according to my assessors, I've read 1 Red Queen book. I've actually read 2. And Zodiac Academy, which I absolutely love. I've read 0.5, 1, 1A, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the beginning of May, I'm going to read 5.5 and 6. And I think so far there are 9 books in that series. I love Zodiac Academy. Every time I talk about it, I talk about how much I love this series. Anyway, I'm sorry, but I'm just very passionately loving it. Famous 5, I have read, I believe, 4? Have I read 3? 4? Something like that. I think I've read 4 books in Famous 5. I'll need to confirm that, but that's fine. There are 21 books in that series. Starting in May, I'm going to read 2 of them a month. Prior to May, I read 1 a month. And Campers and Criminals, we've already spoken about. I've read up to book 16. There are at least 36 books I need to get through by the end of this year. And so, yeah, pretty much on track with that one. And Cruise Ship, as I said, I read by Hope Callahan. I've read book 1 and... yeah, gonna read book 2 in May, and I won't complete that series this year, but we'll get into it. Anyway, yeah, I love all of the series that I have on my SAS list. I'm a bit tentative about the Immortals series by Alison Noel. Book 3 is going to say a lot to me. And the Red Queen series, wait for my upcoming, you've probably already seen it by now, but anyway, so either upcoming or you've just seen my week 4 weekly vlog for April when I talk to you about the Red Queen series. Got some updates for you. Alright, anyway, that is where I am going to leave it. How are you doing with your goals? Let me know. How's your SAS list going? Let me know. And if at the end of the day your goal is to read as many books as you can, or have fun with as many books as you can, or even better, if your goal is to have no more goals, let me know how all that is going in the comments section below. Alright everyone, this is where I am going to leave it. I'm going to let you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading! Bye!